You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Hey guys, welcome into the Outspoken Network. It is a Sportscast edition here for you, episode 179. Talks on Tuesday. We're going to recap Week 18 for you. We got your hosts, Brian and Craig, on. What's going on, Craig?
How we doing, sir?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Another day.
Another day above ground. Yes, sir. All right, we got your Week 18 recap. We got your Week 18 power rankings, and then we got your headlines of the week right after this, guys. All right. The last week has come and gone, and we're ready for the playoffs. Before we get into which we'll do our playoff edition on Friday for you, but let's recap the Week 18 games this week. You had, starting off with Saturday, we had the Chiefs blowing out the Raiders 31-13. They're out there playing Ring Around the Rosie on the football field. What absolute disrespect. I don't even know what that was, but it worked.
Just making up plays
It worked.
as we go along.
It shouldn't have if the guy knew how to tackle, but he didn't. And yeah, it was a bad inning there for the Raiders, and they're crazy how it was gonna be hyped this year for the Raiders and all that they did, but what?
The Cowboys are wearing navy blue against Tampa, and they are like, for the
my
century in
gosh.
navy blue.
Ryan, I'm glad you're on here, but not everything's about the Cowboys, bro. We're talking about Chiefs and Raiders here, all right? You're killing me. All right, Chiefs and Raiders is a blowout. Then you got the Jacksonville beating Tennessee for the division, and I don't know if you watched this game, Craig, but
I did, and for
all
99% of it, I thought Tennessee was going to pull the monumental upset, and then we can't hold on to a football, and so Jacksonville steals one at the last minute. Trevor Lawrence looked like the Trevor Lawrence that I know and love. He looked horrible, and yet somehow did enough to survive. So
I watched this game waiting, going, okay, Trevor Lawrence has been playing really good this year. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And he didn't do anything.
No.
This defense is the reason that they won this game. They got the turnover into a touchdown, and that was pretty much it. Other than that, I thought Dobbs played decent on the other side.
He did enough.
He made some throws and
have another look next year. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do because I'm assuming Tannehill will be gone. From there, they'll move on from him, and they'll go with the two rookies. So we'll see. That team's in full blown rebuild mode. It looks like.
Yeah, rebuild mode. Or we'll get into
what you do with Derrick Henry because I don't think he wants to stay around for that. But we'll see.
well, and is Mike Vrabel safe? I don't know if he's
Oh,
safe
I
there.
think so. I mean, with all the problems he had at quarterback and everything, and he's done. This is the first year he didn't make the playoffs, so I would think so.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get into the and the headlines of the week. We'll get into the Black Monday and all the coaching question marks and stuff going on. But that's one I just don't know. But like I said, they're in rebuild mode, and yeah, I mean, how old is Derrick Henry? He's got I mean, he's pretty old, right? For
I
a
mean, he's
running
been in the
back or
league probably 6 years, I would guess,
6
7
years.
years. So
He's
figure he comes out of college at 21. He's probably 28, 29.
I was thinking about 28, 29. That's getting up there for the running back and how often they use him. He's got a lot of miles on those tires. So, but yeah, the Titans fall
Yeah, he's
short.
29.
29.
20
Yeah.
January 4th. He just turned 29.
Yeah, I don't know who's wanting to trade for him. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of old to be
I don't know
trading
what that
for him.
contract runs, how long.
Yeah, he's still stiff arming people like no other's business out there. But
Yeah.
Sonny, you had the Falcons take care of the Buccaneers. Brady only played half of this game. They pulled their starters. There's no reason to play them. Falcons finished strong. They've Falcons won more games than I thought they would this year. Honestly, they were 7-10, and that was more than I thought they did. I thought they fought hard in a lot of games, and they were 6-3 at home. 6-3 at home.
Yeah, Mariota looked
So
okay until they didn't, and then he quit on them, so.
you had the Patriots and Bills. The Patriots kept it close. If they won, they were in. But unfortunately for them, the Bills end up winning that game 35-23. And Bills headed to the playoffs. Obviously, you got the Patriots, who they just, Bill Belichick will be back for his 24th season. And I don't know. I mean,
decide what you're going to do. Quarterback with Mac, and pretty great start to this game with the kickoff return for a touchdown, and then a second one by Nakeem Hines. And it was as if it wasn't leery enough to hear after the game that it was 3 years and 3 months to the day that it was the last kickoff return. You just can't even make any of this stuff up.
How insane is that? You couldn't have written a better script.
No, you could not have.
But that was awesome to see, and that's one thing that these Bills can rally around. And I think when it comes to the Bills, people that aren't Bills fans or don't have a dog in the fight, I don't have a dog in the fight since Green Bay lost. We'll get that to a little bit, but I may be rooting for the Bills. This is something that the nation can jump on and say, hey, let's go win this for tomorrow.
Yeah, to see the signs all over every NFL stadium was kind of cool for that to happen.
The Vikings and Bears. Bears still can't beat a team that's got nobody playing. They lose 29-13. They get the number 1 draft pick. Fantastic
it will be
for them.
Very interesting to see what they do with that.
The general manager.
I read what he said.
The quarterback's going to have to blow him out of the water for him to pick him. It depends on if you think Justin Fields is a good quarterback. They've got nothing around him. It's kind of hard to tell, but he was literally. They talked about it today. Literally, if you take away his rushing, he was literally the worst passing quarterback in the NFL. And if you're not going to pass the ball in this league, you're not going to win. I think they should draft a quarterback. I would draft Alabama Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud, in my opinion. But I don't know. I don't know if they're going to move on from Fields. I just don't think they will. I think they'll probably move down and supply themselves with picks, but I'm not sure.
Well, that or take the Georgia defensive end that's supposed to be the second coming of the next real deal.
One. You have to take a quarterback at 1. I mean, you can. You'd be dumb. You trade down to number 2 or 3 because they're going to take a quarterback, and then you get that guy, and you still have a first-round pick. I mean, I think they would be stupid if they don't take a quarterback to trade. Not to trade down. But tomatoes. Bengals beat the Ravens 27-16, which they will face again in the first round of the playoffs. I don't know if it's going to go much more than that. What would that game be? A coin flip?
Nope.
Nope. It's
Nope,
in
because the
Cincinnati.
Bengals won, so they get home field. Now there is
Lamar playing
still
the
nope,
biggest.
still no guarantee on Lamar. You probably won't know till Thursday or Friday whether or not he's a go. Still has a tremendous amount of swelling, they said, in the knee.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's playoffs.
And even if he does play, I don't think he's 100%.
Yeah, and if you take away his running, then he ain't got much
100%.
left. So
Yeah.
Texans beat the Colts in a wild one, 32-31.
Oh yeah, what a last bit effort.
4th and 20, they get it. They
get it on a Hail Mary, and then Lovie Smith already knows he's going to get fired, so he goes for it, and it's this double barrel salute to the owner's box of I'm going to win the game and cost you the number 1 pick, and on the way out the door.
They score a touchdown and go for the 2-point and get it just to win by 1 to lose the number 1 draft pick. That's fireable right there, but I think he
already knew going in. I think they already told him that deal, and he said, "Okay, I got something for you."
I got you. Well, the Dolphins somehow beat the Jets 11-6. What a terrible game that was to watch.
I watched this whole thing, and it was
garbage.
Not Skylar Thompson is not. If they have to go use him in a playoff game, the Buffalo Bills will win by 70 because Skylar Thompson is not the answer.
If Tua's not back, which he still hasn't been cleared from concussion protocol, so I don't know how they can just throw him out there. I think Teddy might be back, but
you got to hope that whatever cut on his hand or whatever it was that he was the thumb or whatever, you better hope that it's Steele because Skylar Thompson is not the answer.
I still don't see how they beat the Buffalo Bills. So
they did on the other hand beat them in Buffalo in that was with some Tua, bad weather.
I mean,
huh?
That was with Tua. I'm saying without Tua, I don't.
That's what I'm saying. So I mean, if he plays, that gives you a chance.
Yeah. No, I'm saying without him, I don't see a way they can get it done. But we'll see. I don't know. We don't want to see Tua out there and have a 4th concussion. Just they might want to wrap him. They might want to set him out and just be like, "Well, let's finish the season and look forward to next year." But Panthers beat the Saints and the nothing bowl 10-7. Everybody in that division except the Buccaneers finished 7-10. Very interesting. Mike Tomlin, yes, sir.
Yeah,
finished 9-8. I think we were all kind of rooting for that.
The streak continues. Almost made the playoffs. If the Dolphins lose that game, then they make the playoffs. At one point, you were kind of hoping that was a thing, especially if Tua's not going to play. So that would have been an interesting deal.
Yeah, and the Browns better hope that that Deshaun Watson plays or does a lot of studying and throwing this offseason, because if this is the guy they've got and he doesn't get any better than this, then they have
I call this from
wasted their money.
I call this from the word go. You cannot sit out for 2 years and do nothing and come back and just sling the ball all around the yard. I was never a real big, huge Deshaun Watson advocate when he was at his best. And so to take 2 years off, it showed. And I think you better hope that a full offseason helps, but there's no guarantee.
When he was at his best, he was top 5 in the league, but you can't. I mean, I didn't expect that. I hope hopefully is to see some progression, but we'll see. I guess we're gonna have to wait till next year because this wasn't it for him at all, and I don't think the Browns were expecting all that much from him, anyways. But you got the Broncos beating the Chargers 31-28. As somehow they've been competitive in these games the last couple of weeks. They beat a playoff team in the Chargers. I don't know if they set out people or
flip off job to Nathaniel Hackett is all that is.
Yeah. Nathaniel Hackett, come on back to Green Bay, baby.
They did say the coach did say he'd leave that door open.
Yeah, because our offense is trash this year, and if we can bring him back and he can work with Aaron Rodgers, hold the train here. Hopefully, Aaron Rodgers is gone,
Oh, yeah,
but I
he
don't
is.
think it will be.
Oh, he is.
Um,
He straight up told the Lions, "I'm going to hold on to this jersey." So that's going in the rafters somewhere.
I hope so. Giants lose to the Eagles 22-16. This was a 22-0 game, but the Giants made it kind of a game late at the end there. But the
Eagles, the real answer is Jalen Hurts looks like he's not healthy.
I saw some throws that he was making, and they were underthrown. He couldn't put a lot into them. It did not look good there for the Eagles. He did not run the ball. So that's good news for the Cowboys fans. It's bad news for the Eagles, but they wrap up the number 1 seed. They get to buy an extra week off. So that was huge for them. 49ers dismantle the Cardinals 38-13.
A team nobody wants to play in the playoffs.
Team no one wants to see. And you have J.J. Watt last game, and so pretty emotional day for him, but hate to see him go out on a blowout. But I understand he doesn't want to come back. I wouldn't want to come back and play for the Cardinals either. So
no, yeah.
You got the Seahawks surviving the Rams as they missed a game-winning field goal at the end of the game off the uprights, and then they hold on with Baker Mayfield threw an interception, I believe, in overtime that sealed the deal.
He had a guy streaking down the sideline. Van Jefferson was streaking down the sideline, wide open. If he puts the ball on a line, Van Jefferson's still running, and the Rams win the football game. He throws it up as high as the SoFi Stadium ceiling will allow, and Quadre Diggs gets underneath it, grabs it, taunts the sideline, and goes out of bounds, and they don't call the taunting penalty, and Seattle comes down, kicks a field goal, and the rest is history.
And they make the playoffs because of that, because the Green Bay Packers lost to the Lions. Season over. I thought we were going to beat the Lions. We looked like complete trash that game. And what killed us is the red zone offense. We got down in the red zone, field goal. Got down in the red zone, field goal. It was 9-6 at halftime.
What killed you was absolute penalties that I've never seen in my life.
Trash. Oh, you talking about the one where we try to block?
Shoving the trainers.
Yeah. Clay Walker, and this is the second time you've shoved a trainer.
And why are we walking down the line of scrimmage and flicking the ball up from the center
and then punching the guy in the face? Yeah, it's like
I mean, I've never seen any of these things, and they're in a game, week 18 win and in playoff game, and these guys are out here doing things that just don't need to be done, and that 15-yard at the end of the half gives Badger a much easier field goal. He bangs that through, and then the end of the game, it cost you the game. And the coach is standing on the sideline telling him to use your bleeping head.
He gets ejected.
Yeah.
And I texted Ryan. Can tell you this, Ryan, if you're still on here, buddy. I know. We'll get to take your Cowboys next, but I texted my buddy Jeff Bramble and Ryan, and I said, Aaron Rodgers. This is probably 3 or 4 plays before Aaron Rodgers threw an interception. I said, Aaron Rodgers' last throw is going to be interception, just like Favre's last throw as a Green Bay Packer on Lambeau Field. And what does he do? He gets pressure. He heaves it up to double coverage. It gets picked off. And this is 4 minutes to go in the game. And Ryan said, game's not over. Well, we never got the ball back. So game was over. 4th and 1, and you give a small little route right up the middle. The guy runs 2 feet, turns around, catches the ball. He's wide open. We lose. We go home. We didn't deserve playoffs. I was on Team Tank at 4-8, but they kept freaking winning. So I said, all right, well, let's go into the playoffs on the winning streak. And then we didn't even get there, and we cost ourselves a better draft pick. Frustrating situation. And I saw something today that said Brett Favre's last 12 passes, 2 for 12. And his last pass was an interception. And Aaron Rodgers was the same exact. 2 of 12, interception, walked off the field at Lambeau, going home a loser. And I hope, and I love Aaron Rodgers. I'm not trying to completely body bag him here, but it's time to move on. It's time to rip off that Band-Aid, Packer fans, and get rid of him. Bring in Jordan Love. I don't care. Whatever. But it's time. It's time to move on from Aaron Rodgers. In a discussion. I said it before the season to trade him. It's time.
I'd have to go back and look at Spotrac and see what exactly cap hits and post June 1s and all that. But I firmly believe that he may not retire, but he won't be a Packer.
If he retires, it says we still owe him about $40 million on our cap next year. That'll hit. If he comes back, he's guaranteed $58 million. And I don't know about trading him, but I don't know who wants a 39-year-old
the
quarterback.
trade should be the same as the cut, type deal.
They're gonna have to get someone that's gonna want to pay it. I mean, I can see him going to the Oakland Raiders. I can see him going to the Jets. Exactly where we sent Brett Favre. That'd be kind of funny.
Did
But
he go
anyway,
to the Jets first, or did he go to Minnesota? Yeah, he went to the Jets.
He went to the Jets first, and then because we didn't want to trade him to Minnesota, we wanted to face him twice, and then he went to Minnesota and almost made the Super Bowl. But
yeah. All
right. Well, the Cowboys completely crapped their pants on live TV against the Commanders. What was that, Craig? I got home from out of town, and I thought I thought no stars played, and I was like, wait, Dak's playing, and it's the fourth quarter. What are we doing?
Like a team that knew they could see the scoreboard in the stadium and knew that Philadelphia was up 20. That's what it looked like. It looked like a team that was not prepared to play. The opening drive, you go 3 and out. The punter, the ball hits him right in the hands, and he muffs it. They tackle him. They take one pass and throw a little drag route, and Sam Howell's first NFL pass goes for a touchdown. And then the next deal, they go 3 and out, and they punt, and it hits Turpin right in the face mask, and he fumbles right there. It hits his face mask and goes right into the guy's bread basket. He catches it in the air. The offensive line, I hope that whatever combination you had in there that day was a turnstile. They got blown up on every play. The worst game I've ever seen Tyron Smith have. Chase Young beat him like a drum all day long. It was, Prescott throws passes off his back foot. He throws one. The guy jumps the route and drops it. Goes back, and they run the same 100% identical play. And the guy jumps it again and pick sixes it and runs into the house. It looked like the most vanilla game plan you could ever come up with. Like, Kellen Moore didn't want to show anybody plays, anybody's formations, anybody anything. It just looked like a team that didn't want to be there. It looked like McCarthy didn't have the guys prepared. There was no guys just walking to the line. There was nothing. And you hope that it doesn't transfer to Monday. You hope that he said they had a bad week of practice. You hope that's not a thing in the playoffs. But we'll see.
Yeah, my guess was it was just looking forward to the playoffs already, and they kind of checked out because that was the worst game I've seen Dak Prescott play.
Anybody play. Receivers couldn't get any separation. The running backs were getting everything was 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 10. They were behind the chains all day.
Now, the good news for you going into the playoffs, you're going to have your center back, Biotish, and you're going to have those. You're going to be fully back and healthy.
It looks like Van Der Esch will be back. It looks like Biotish will be back.
Bland's injury was not anything they said to keep him out, so was not serious. So that's going to give you a
because
boost.
Those 2 cornerbacks that took over for him couldn't cover their eyes from a scary movie. still the third cornerback. I don't know if Xavier Rhodes is going to be able to get up to speed in time, but he's better than either one of those ones we got. So we'll see.
All right, guys. Well, that's your Week 18 recap. We're going to go into your power rankings. We didn't do power rankings last week because of the whole, Bills and Cincinnati not playing, and we kind of didn't know where to put them if they didn't play. So we kind of left that off. But this week we're going to finish the power rankings. Let's move up the list from 5 to 1. I don't know. I guess then we're going to have the same 5 teams. We'll see. It'd be interesting. At number 5, though, Craig, I do have the Eagles. I do have the Eagles at number 5, 14-3. They had a really good season. Just the worry there is obviously Hurts, him being injured. They did lock up the number 1 seed in the NFC, but I had to cautionally move them down to number 5, and that's I think that's where they kind of fit. A lot of people have number 1 or number 2 or higher, but I just think it's the right place to put them because you just never know with his injury. They could lose in week 2 right off the bat because of the injury of Hurts, but I'm not sure. So number 5, I felt it was an appropriate place to place him.
Same thing. They got a 34. When's the last time you saw that the number 1 seed in the NFC has got a 34% chance of making the Super Bowl? That tells you right now that all the stats are pointing to that they don't think that that's a real thing. And they struggled going down the stretch. Hurts not playing his best football. Sanders didn't have a great game. He fumbled the last couple weeks. That defense is banged up with Montez Sweat and everything like that. So yeah, I agree totally. I put them at 5 and we'll go from there.
I got the Bengals at number 4. They finished the season at 12-4. We could have the same list.
I think so. I mean, maybe we're gonna swap one around, but or
one or two, maybe 3. We'll see. The Bengals, they're a team that caught that fire late in the season, and they're still rolling. I easily could see this team make it to the championship. Cool Joe over there doesn't flinch when pressure's on, and that's one thing that's fantastic about him. But and they were leading when they were playing the Bills before the Hamlin injury, they were leading that game. So, but I got them there. They finished the season at 12-4, another great season for the Bengals, and interesting what a really good quarterback can change for a franchise.
Yeah, I have in the same spot. I will be very interested to see if the NFL does something if they line up and are supposed to play Buffalo in the second round and see if that game is moved to a neutral site. If not, I mean, Cincinnati will go play it, but if it is moved to a neutral site, then watch out because I think that could be Buffalo's biggest test. They're playing really good right now. They're getting healthy at the right time. Outside of the Lyle Collins injury, everybody's come back, and Burrow looks to be as strong as he's been all year. He's getting the ball out. He had some offensive line issues to start. They've remedied it, fixed it, and he's just getting the ball out faster. And Jamar Chase looks like the stud that he's always been, and T. Higgins and the running back over there has been just an absolute monster. Had 5 touchdowns before he had missed a couple games because he was hurt. And so they are really on fire right now.
I got the Bills at number 3. They finished season 13-3. The missed game there, but the powerhouse. This team's a powerhouse. We thought they might have beat some teams a little bit, with a little more points on the board this year. The Josh Allen revenge tour was hot and heavy on when they started the season. It's kind of cooled down a little bit, but they're winning these games. Defense is playing pretty well, and you just can't count these guys out. The one thing this team misses, and maybe this is where Derrick Henry goes, is they need a running game. My gosh. Could you imagine Derrick Henry on the Buffalo Bills next season? That's what's missing there, and
They really thought Christian McCaffrey was going to go there.
yeah, and that would have been pretty deadly
was
too.
very hot and heavy.
But I really like this head coach and the culture he's brought in there
Yeah.
at Buffalo ever since he's got their day one.
Yeah, he's done really well, and
his team
his
set up for the
message has
future.
gone well, and Josh Allen is kind of putting this team on his back and dragging them when it's needed most, and I really think that they use this as a stepping stone, and we'll see. The AFC playoffs is going to be way better than the NFC playoffs.
Yeah.
So those games will be down to the wire, and you've got basically 3 or 4 teams for one spot in the AFC, whereas you've got 1 or maybe 2 teams in the NFC for one spot, and so it's going to be an interesting how it plays out.
You got Buffalo at 3-2?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, wow. Okay, that was the one I thought you might have a little higher. But the next team for me, even though they didn't finish number 1 in the NFC, is the 49ers. They are absolutely on fire. They are they're a powerhouse in a different kind of senses. Their defense is extremely good. They get to the quarterback, they cover well, they stop the run. They've had games where they've given up some points, but I think right now they're kind of on a hot streak, and this offense with Purdy has been rolling like nothing. I mean, it's been rolling like Jimmy G never left, and probably be even better. They're scoring more points on the board. They're Shanahan's an offensive genius out there, and I mean, this team could easily roll with Mr. Irrelevant to the Super Bowl. Easy as that. I think they are the best team in the NFC. I would love to see a Niners-Eagles NFC Championship game, because I think that game would be worth a watch, especially if Hurts is healthy. But we'll have to wait and see how it pans out. But I got the Niners there at number 2.
I got Kansas City. I just
okay.
There's really no need for it other than just the San Francisco 49ers are on an absolute torrid pace right now, and nobody wants to play them. And so Kansas City looked good. They made a mockery of the Raiders, just like they should have. Patrick Mahomes looks good. And I mean, I can't say that I would pick against them in the AFC playoffs. Cincinnati has had their number in recent games. Burrow has beaten the last couple times.
Burrow's undefeated against Patrick Mahomes.
And Buffalo beat them earlier in the year when they played them. So if you look at that from that standpoint, both teams, have beat Kansas City, but it will be in Kansas City. So, well, it won't be, though. The AFC Championship is going to be a neutral site, and
that will be the first road playoff game that Patrick Mahomes ever played.
Yeah,
will be a neutral site, and they'll technically be the home team, right? But that's insane to me, and that's the biggest drop of the ball, I think, for the Bengals and the Bills, because you don't want to face Patrick Mahomes at home. He got the first seed. I think when a team like the Bills have kind of put it all together this season, they really wanted the number 1 seed. You get the bye, you get the rest, and you don't have to face Patrick Mahomes at home. Now they're going to, well, I mean, I guess they don't have to, but a neutral site isn't exactly.
Which I'm still trying to figure out why they did that, because I guess Buffalo technically could have, but if Kansas City kept winning, then it wasn't going to matter. And they won both of those games, so I don't understand that standpoint. If there's anything that's going to be a neutral site, it should have been the Chiefs and the Bengals and Bills. That's the game that it affected, but the Chiefs, how that got neutral sited, I'll never know. But the bottom line is the AFC playoffs is going to be a slobber knocker. It's going to be a very can't turn away, want to see every play, prime time, night, snow. I don't know if there's been a site decided whether it'll be a dome, whether it'll be outside, whether weather will be a factor or not. But the bottom line is those three teams will all be ready to play wherever the game is.
They asked for Indianapolis to be to host one of those games, and Indy said no. So they're going to have to find somewhere else.
Probably Detroit. That would be my guess.
My guess is it's going to be a dome somewhere inside. You're already changing up something. You don't want something else to affect the game and have any reason.
Detroit had that Buffalo home game when the snow was there, and the Lions never have told the NFL. They've used that site a couple times now. They just ask that you don't break any of the tables and
turn off the lights. Don't break
turn off the lights and don't touch my beer. We'll see. But the AFC is going to be a deal, and I just like I said, there's no. I mean, it's like 1 and 1A, but I have Kansas City at 2.
I got Kansas City at 1. I just think they've looked impressive especially this last week. They've struggled sometimes against teams that they shouldn't have, but they're the Kansas City Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes has thrown for more yards than he's ever has before, and we both got to eat it on he would miss Tyreek Hill because he didn't miss in one beat. And
going to be the MVP, going to be a unanimous MVP. But what the 49ers have going right now, and I called this several weeks ago when they got Christian McCaffrey. I texted you as soon as it happened and said that's going to be the team to beat. And you kind of went, well, I don't see how it really affects it. Any running back that they put in there. I'm telling you.
Well, let me hold on here, buddy. Yes, you did call it. I was saying, why trade for a guy that's usually hurt? Okay, he's usually hurt.
Because I think all those injuries were
most of them.
Because I played for the Carolina Panthers. I think you haven't seen that. I told you that when they traded him. I said, you're gonna see all these hangnails and all these soft tissue injuries and all these injuries that are been kind of lingering. They've all gone away, and that's just because he's happy where he's at, and they're gonna win. And now I think it's gonna be a very, very difficult out. Unless Brock Purdy unless the lights of the playoffs become too bright for Brock Purdy, then that team's going to be the team to beat. They're getting healthy. Deebo Samuel's back. Elijah Mitchell's back. They're getting healthy at the right time. They have just so many different weapons, and the way Shanahan runs that offense is like a Swiss Army knife, and you never know which way they're going to attack you. And ground, air, reverse pass, reverse double, triple reverse pass. You just never know. I think as long as the lights aren't too bright, playoff lights aren't too bright for Brock Purdy. They're not going to be tested in the first round with Seattle. And they're not going to be
divisional game. I wouldn't count it. I wouldn't say, hey,
they're not going to be tested with Seattle. And
it's the playoffs, baby. Any given Sunday.
I watched the Seattle game. They're not going to be tested with Seattle. And
what's Geno Smith showing up? The first half, Geno Smith, or the rest of his career, Geno Smith?
Okay. Do I need to type this out to you? They're not going to have a problem with Seattle.
I wouldn't count them out.
The 49ers just, and I don't see, obviously they get the winner of the Minnesota Giants game. I don't see a Minnesota is a fraud. The Giants aren't great at football, so they have the easiest path to me.
Let's not break down the playoffs yet there, Craig. That's next week, or that's Friday. That's Friday.
They have the easiest path to me. So that's why I have them 1, because they have the easiest path.
Well, the easiest path supposed to go to the number 1 seed. They don't play the round 1. They have that bye. They'll play the winner of the
Tampa,
worst seed
Dallas.
coming out. Tampa,
Well,
Dallas. Unless
unless
Seahawks beat the 49ers. I don't think that's happening though.
Or the Giants beat Minnesota.
Yeah. But we'll get to the playoffs on Friday. We'll get to the playoffs on Friday. I don't want to spoil any of our little picks there. But speaking of picks, so get this, and it'll only be this perfect. Me and Craig were both 8-7 headed into the last week, or 8-8, something like that, headed into the last week of the season. It came down in week 18, and we tied on week 18. So we don't have no clue who won our record bet, but we'll have to figure out a way. Maybe we'll flip a coin. Like the NFL. Oh man! When I saw that we tied, I said that's of course we did. All right, guys, let your power rankings and your recap of Week 18. We are going to jump into the headlines of the week. All right, guys. Well, the Monday after the season ends is known as Black Monday, and that's when the NFL really then they sit down and they go, "Hey, do we want our head coach or not, or assistant coaches?" And they fire them and move on. So we're going to talk about those coaches. Cliff Kingsbury is out in Arizona, and the GM is stepping aside due to health issues. Kingsbury was 28-37 and won there. We talked about this before. Me and Craig called it that Cliff Kingsbury would be out, and this is not a organizational decision. This is a Kyle Murray decision, and you can't convince me otherwise. They just extended Cliff Kingsbury 10 months ago, and now they're firing him. I think that, honestly, that Kyle Murray went in there and said, this guy's got to go. We don't get along. And then to kind of put the cherry on top of everything else, they come out today and said, Kyle Murray, bloop, will help us decide who our next head coach is. So, I don't know about you, Craig, but this is the most bizarre thing, being that the Arizona Cardinals has publicly bashed their quarterback, calling him spoiled, calling him selfish, and saying that he doesn't do his job good enough, or we got to put a clause on his contract that says, hey, you have to study more because you're on Call of Duty too much and you suck. They give him the contract. They're going to give him the reins of the team over here to pick the head coach. I just don't get it. But Cliff Kingsbury is out, and it was Cliff Kingsbury somehow felled up to the NFL, but we did not see this as a shocker whatsoever.
I believe that they will use that. They will blame Kingsbury for all that when they say about Kingsbury was the one that didn't wanted that stipulation there. Kingsbury, and all the negative pub and negative things that talked about. They will say we're signing Cliff Kingsbury, and we've gotten that out the door. And Kyler, here's the keys to the franchise, and you can pick your head coach. You can help hand pick your head coach. It can be whoever you want it to be. Please don't forget you have to interview a African American for the Rooney Rule, but have a good time and go get you a new head coach. So that's what they did, and I mean, it doesn't even sound like right now that they're going to hire a GM first. That they're just going to let Kyler be the GM and go find him a head coach, and then make a new GM work with the head coach that Kyler picked. Arizona has been a dumpster fire for, not quite the Houston Texans dumpster fire, but it's been real close for the last several years. That team is in a rebuild. That's why JJ wanted out. He doesn't want to have to go through one of those. And whoever does take this job is better be patient, because it's not going to be unless you catch lightning in a bottle. I read today that the very good chance that they trade Hopkins in the offseason. So that team is looking to be full blown rebuild.
Yeah.
So,
In as toxic as seems like Kyle Murray is, I guess they were just like, well, let's give him the coach. Let's give him no more excuses, and see if we can make it work that way. Because you signed on for him, and which I was hoping they didn't, because that was a very ugly public display they had against each other, and they signed on for it. So all we can do is sit back and watch it. Lovie Smith was fired after the game. They didn't even wait till Monday. They fired him after the game in Houston as he cost them the number 1 pick by going for 2, going for the Hail Mary, getting it, winning the game. Houston treats their coaches like toilet paper. They're done. Wipe, gone. We'll see the next one.
I didn't even
revolving
understand
door.
this hiring when they
No.
hired him. I didn't. It made no sense.
They had Brian Flores was out there, and they hired
100%.
Lovie Smith. What are you?
I mean,
what are we doing?
Yeah.
And my question to anybody else
I think it was a absolute handshake deal. Give me through a year.
Yeah.
We'll give you some money. Give me through a year. I don't think there was ever a plan.
Stopgap coach. We've never seen that before.
I don't think there was ever a plan that Lovie Smith was the long-term answer in Houston. No. That's why that team is the biggest dumpster fire in the NFL, and they can't even tank right. I mean,
my question is, why are people still going? Why aren't people still want the job? The organization's crap. They're going to fire you after the end of the season and blame all their troubles on you. You don't have a quarterback. The last good quarterback you had was over here touching masseuses and all that crap. And it's just a dumpster fire. And they've been consistently bad ever since they've come in the league. And I just don't know who else is taking this job. They probably won't even do an extensive search. They'll probably interview a couple people, and they'll probably just do the interim coach deal with one of Lovey's assistant coaches. I don't know. I don't know who would sign up for this dumpster fire of an organization, but I wouldn't even. If I'm a head coach in the league, I'm not even putting my name down for if they're calling me up, I'm going to go, I'm good, bro.
I'm rejecting the interview.
It's just absolute trash what they're doing out there. This wasn't part of the Black Monday, but these are other coaches that were gone before the season even ended. And this is Nathaniel Hackett in Denver, which I think we all agreed on when he left. There's talks about him going back to Green Bay, and I'm all for it if Aaron Rodgers comes back, because he worked well with Aaron Rodgers. Our offense is better when he was there. Our offense struggled this season. But if we're not bringing back Aaron Rodgers, then I don't care if Nathaniel Hackett comes back. A lot of people are laughing at him. He's a laughingstock right now. He'll get a job somewhere, being an offensive coordinator somewhere. But he was obviously not ready for the Denver dumpster fire that took place, and he
or anything apparently.
He was the driver of it. Yeah. Frank Wright in Indy, it was time for him to go. Indy's been, and I feel really bad for Indy because they had their quarterback, and then he walked out on them. So, they leaked that information when he was on the sideline in a preseason game. I remember that. I was like, what? What a dumpster fire there in Indy. They're just terrible, and they need to do a whole complete rebuild. And then Matt Rule was gone in Carolina. And
I think Steve Wilkes just keeps that job. I think he did enough
with the Panthers,
with the Panthers, that he almost makes the playoffs. He almost wins the division, and I think he did enough that he probably sheds the interim tag and gets the head coaching job at least for a year to give him another look.
I think you're right, and I think the team obviously played well for him. They
did.
They
responded
looked like they
very
had some
well.
fire in them.
Yeah. He gets rid of Robbie Anderson day one after getting the screaming match. He doesn't tolerate that, and kicks him off the sideline, sends him to the thing, and trades him an hour later. He really seemed to after that gain the respect of the locker room, and they played pretty well going down the stretch. If they had anybody other than Darnold as the quarterback, then they probably do okay.
I think they might even win the division the way that
100%.
Matt Rule's what in Nebraska now? He went
Yes.
back in Nebraska, and he seems like just the college coach type of guy.
Yeah, he's
and I
had
think
years and years of success. He turned Baylor around. He turned, I just think that's some guys, just like Harbaugh, the hard nose yelling at these guys in the NFL doesn't work. They're not kids. They're not they're not able to be talked to like that. And sometimes that coaching style, that hard nosed coaching style, just does not transfer to the NFL. And that's exactly. It seems like that's exactly what happened with Rule. Was his way of managing things and his way of doing things didn't transfer to the NFL.
All right, those are your coaches that got fired mid-season and on Black Friday, or Black Monday, whatever. Jerry Jones came on the 105.3 The Fan Show. It's a day to talk about football, but today on the Sean and RJ show, McCarthy said no outcome Monday night could affect McCarthy's job status for next season. Do you believe Jerry Jones?
No. Jerry Jones is a bold-faced liar. If that team goes out and looks anything like it did Sunday against Washington, do you want to see the path for Sean Payton to be the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys? I'll show you a path, and that is the Cowboys go out and get blown out in Tampa and don't show up, and this offense looks flat. The defense gets run, and Tom Brady goes in there and hangs 30, and the Dallas Cowboys get run out of the playoffs. Mike McCarthy won't even make the plane ride home. Sean Payton will be on speed dial, and if the fourth quarter comes down and the Dallas Cowboys are losing, Jerry will call Sean Payton and go, "Yeah, Sean, go ahead and just get on the plane, sir. I'm sending Air Force One for you. Come on down. You're the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys." He says no, and I thought up to this point, no way. Back-to-back 12-win seasons, very solid rapport. The coach, the team likes him. The players like him. But that not having a team ready to play in a game when you're trying to get the 1 seed and you just flat don't show up against the division rival, if they do that, then Mike McCarthy will not be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys next year.
I agree 100%. What Jerry Jones takes or says, you got to take with a grain of salt half the time. And the only way, because you're right, 12-5 back-to-back seasons, very good. But the only way I see it happening is if you go in there and you look like you did against the Washington Commanders. And if you play like that and get blown,
have 140 yards of total offense, and
Dak has 2 interceptions and 100 yards passing,
turn the ball over 4 times, and
you can't run the football, and Tom Brady blows you apart.
Yeah,
I do think he's gone. Now, if it's a close game and Tom Brady gets the ball last and drives down the field and beats you in the first round, I don't think he's gone then. I think that's just, you chalk that up to it's Tom freaking Brady. But I do believe more than likely.
If you go in there and hang 30 and you get beat, then Mike McCarthy is the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys next year, and deal.
It's going to have something of a catastrophic loss for them to kind of move on.
What it's going to have to be is it's going to have to appear Jerry's going to have to be able to say the team quit on him.
Yeah, exactly.
And if he can say the team quit on him, that justifies him being able to go back against his word and pull the trigger. Yeah. And now, Sean Payton will be the next head coach.
I do not believe Sean Payton will be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys if that happens.
Sean Payton will be the next head coach. That is Jerry Jones.
Sean Payton wants too much control of the team for Jerry Jones. I guarantee you. He does. He wants all personnel control. Do you think Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones are going to give that up? I don't think so. Do you think they're going to give that up all for Sean Payton?
Sean Payton's a family friend. He's the second coming of Jason Garrett.
They've been linked together for a long, long time. I get it. I just don't know if it actually happens. If McCarthy is fire, and that's a big.
It's one of two people. It's going to be Quinn or Peyton.
Yeah, I would think Quinn would be it. I mean, I'm not.
I'll
saying,
tell you who.
I'll
tell you who the one to watch this. You want to see somebody go from Dallas? I believe Kellen Moore is not the offensive coordinator next year.
Quinn could be gone too. Denver's already contacted again about him.
I think Jerry money whips him and keeps him around like he did Garrett because it's a safety net and Parsons loves Quinn and
he already money whipped him. How many times can he do that before he's
how many
out the
times
door?
can I mean? There's no salary cap on the coaches. He'll back of the brink strike.
Eventually, a guy will want
At
to go
one
head
point,
coach.
Jason Garrett was
Again.
making more than Wade Phillips. So, yeah, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't do it again.
Do you like Kellen Moore?
No. The Dallas Cowboys offense has been 100%. Every NFL team has said that the Dallas Cowboys offense has been predictable for the last 5 years under Kellen Moore. He runs the same plays. He runs the same formation. He puts you behind the chains and run. Oh, now it's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. Well, now everybody in the stadium knows what you're doing because you have to pass because you got 2 running backs that average 1.5 yards a carry. Well, they're not getting you 7. So now we got to pass, and they're jumping routes. They're breaking up passes. And this offense, when he wants to be, he can scheme things up, get guys open, and average 30 a game. But for whatever reason, when big games come along or when you play a team, like inside the division, when you play a team a second time, these teams can figure out Dallas, and Washington acted like they were in the damn huddle the other night, and that's exactly what it looked like, is they knew every play was coming.
I don't technically like Kellen Moore, in my opinion. I'm not have a dog in the fight. I'm not a Cowboys fan. The inconsistency for me is crazy with him. He'll have the numbers. Your offense will be number wise will be up there in the NFL, but then you watch games where you're going, "What was this? What are we doing? Why don't we stop doing what worked?"
It's been the last 3 years. You start out the season in 1 through 6 or 1 through 7,
yep.
and the offense was flying and going, and they're averaging 30 points a game, and then you go and you get blown out by the Denver Broncos by 60, and you're like, what in the world?
What? What happened here?
All right, well, it's fine. And then we go and rip off 3 more wins, and then you lay another, a deal. And it's been the Kellen Moore calling card for the last several years. And unfortunately, it's getting blamed on Dak Prescott, and that's just not a thing.
Oh, sorry, I had to laugh at that. I guarantee you don't want McCarthy calling plays.
Well, and when he came in,
the
only reason he didn't take over was he didn't want to change the nomenclature of what Dak and the offense is using, so he just kept it with Kellen. I believe that was the Jerry Jones thing. We're going to hire you as the head coach, but Kellen's calling plays. I don't think that was a McCarthy thing.
You don't want McCarthy calling plays, I guarantee that. But it'll be interesting to see if they do move on from him and what happens. Ryan's talked about the Cowboys, and he hasn't been back on. I go, bro, text him earlier. We're talking Cowboys now, and you disappeared. All right. Well,
interesting to see if he had the same opinion that I had on Moore.
No, he loves Kellen Moore.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm glad he's not.
I believe he loves Kellen Moore because he's going to tell you that they've had one of the best offenses in the league, and that's blah blah blah.
Well, statistically speaking, he's not incorrect.
Yeah. Well, this next one is in my opinion absolutely ridiculous, and Sean McVay might be stepping away from the Rams. And when you put that on social media the other day, I read that and I go, they're gonna fire Sean McVay? What? And are they stupid? And then I looked more into it.
I think Sean doesn't want to go through a rebuild.
It was more of his was going to be because of him. He doesn't want to be
I
there.
think he knows. I think he knows that the quarterback is going to walk away. I think him and
I thought they said Stafford's coming back. They say he's going. They say he's coming back.
I'm telling you right now, Matthew Stafford has no reason to play football. His wife has been through brain surgery. He's been through a ton. He's got his championship. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. If he comes back,
hold on.
I would be shocked. But to me, that's why McVay said this, was that he's already talked to Stafford and Stafford's already told him. And then if the defensive end, he tried to retire last year. If he retired, I think
he's coming. He's made it official. So he's coming back for the 2023 season. So Matthew Stafford's coming back. Now here's my thing.
Unless he just doesn't have any, unless he thinks Stafford's washed and thinks that elbow is no good and doesn't want any part of it.
This is a pathetic move for Sean McVay. Absolutely pathetic. You build this team. You fight for Matthew Stafford. He goes in there and says, let's throw our nuts on the table and get Matthew Stafford, go all in, and it works. They win the Super Bowl. And then now you're belling because you had a bad season. Stafford got hurt. You're 5-11. You don't want to go through a rebuild. It's not a rebuild if you got Matthew Stafford. Sorry, guys, it's not.
Yeah, and Cooper Kupp and Van Jefferson. And
it's not the defense, but to walk away and it be because
that tells me he knows something. That tells me he knows somebody's not coming back.
You don't want to do a rebuild is an absolute piece of crap way to do it. It is. That's just crappy. And because this team has no first-round draft picks, they spend so much money, they're probably going to be in cap hell. I get it. That's the way you did it. But now, instead of facing the music, you just want to walk away and say, hey, I'm not feeling this anymore. I think that's just a crappy way to do it and a crappy way to walk out. Now, if he retires from football altogether and never coaches again, okay, maybe I might change my mind, but I don't think that's him. He's like 35 years old.
Oh, if that, yeah.
I just think it's just a crap. It's a crap look. And I think if he does walk away, there's going to be some hard feelings between the Rams and him. And I just don't know. But that's just crap. And Stafford's got to be feeling Stafford has got to be going, wait a minute, you bring me over here and then you leave me? It's kind of feeling pretty crappy. Kat is back. Welcome back, Kat. Kat says they win in other colors. Do you know what she's referring to there, Craig? Who are we talking about? Kat?
I guess the Cowboys.
Oh, because of Ryan's comments.
Yeah.
I guess that's what you're talking about there. And Kat, welcome back. Appreciate your. We owned up for calling out the Chiefs earlier. We said we own our mistake of thinking that Patrick Mahomes would miss Tyreek Hill, and I had the Chiefs as my number one team in the NFL in my power ranking, so I won't doubt them again, and I'm sorry. Yeah, but pathetic move if Sean McVay walks away from them just because of the fact that he doesn't want to rebuild after they've set themselves up for failure when all this winning stops.
Yeah.
Carlos Correa finds himself with his third team this year. I bet the Twins feel super happy. They're like, "We're your third choice? Woo! Yay! I'm glad. This is the strangest thing I've ever seen."
If MLB doesn't step in and do
Baseball.
something about this, I would be very disappointed. He signed the better part of 30 some odd years and $890 million in contracts, or agreed to 30 something years and $900 million in contracts. And I think he's going to go back to Minnesota because he played there last year and there's a handshake deal under the table that he won't have to go through the physical. And they won't bring up the issues that the Mets and the Giants have clearly found.
Is that legal? Is that legal?
No, but what I'm saying is the physical will be a handshake deal. because he played there last year and they've looked at him and they're comfortable with what the deal. So he'll pass their physical, which he'll pass it from his couch in Florida, and won't deal. He lost about 7 years and $150 million. Is what this is going to cost him in the long run. But the bottom line is he's going to play baseball. And there's that. I don't agree with it. I don't want it. I think MLB needs to step in and say, how did he pass this physical if he didn't pass two others? But there's that, I just don't like it. It's a bad look for Major League Baseball. It's a bad look for Correa, and he's made the offseason just a joke.
It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. 3 different teams.
Yeah. You've never seen anything like it.
Kat told me I can keep doubting them, the Chiefs, so they can keep kicking butt. And she was talking about the Cowboys with her, talking about Cowboys colors. Yeah, I won't doubt them again there, Kat, and not a lot of people are, I don't think. So there you go. But that should be a really good playoffs. We're going to get into our playoff episode on Friday, Kat. So make sure you stick around and come back for that, and we'll go through the playoffs. I don't know if we're going to predict the whole playoffs, or we're just going to go round by round and see. But we'll see how it goes. Well, Craig, I think that's going to be it tonight. I'm just kidding. I was waiting for you to bring up the TCU ass whooping last night. I do have it on here. I told Jana and my wife, I go, I'm going to put it at the very end and see if Craig brings it up. But you didn't, so kudos to you. Georgia's mud stomps, curb stomps, the TCU last night, 65-7. Absolutely. I don't even know what to say to that. I didn't stay up and watch it because I stayed up and watched the Green Bay game. I didn't get any sleep.
38-7.5. And really, I thought we were going to be okay. It started out 10-0, and I was like, uh-oh. I was like, and then TCU throws a huge pass, gets in, makes it 10-7, and I said, hold on, we got a game. And then all of a sudden, Georgia rips off the next 28. And it was Katie bar the door, and then they go and double down in the second half, and they just never took their foot off the throttle. I mean, they were still playing first stringer. Stenson Bennett was still throwing touchdown passes with a minute and a half left in the game, and Kirby Smart never took his foot off the throttle, and so I don't know if there's some personal bad blood between him and
Sonny Dykes,
or what? But
the
bottom line, or if Dykes maybe said something about, I think this is going to be a game, or I think this is going to be this, or I don't know. But Georgia had, I've never seen a team just go out, and I mean there was guys running down the middle of the field wide open, like nobody within a TV screen of them. And Stetson Bennett was out there just jumping around like he was 12 and he's 30. And
they beat us like we slapped their mama.
Yeah.
All right.
I 100%.
I don't know what happened. Here's my day. Sunday night, I stayed up. I drove back. We drove back from Mineola, Texas. It's about a 2-hour and 10-minute drive. I took a 2-hour and 10-minute nap. I woke up at home. We watched the Packers play at night, watch them lose. I stayed up at 10:30. I played a little bit of Call of Duty until about 11:30. I went to work at midnight on no sleep, got my route done. I said, I planned on staying up and watch the TCU game. I said, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go home. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to get up. I'm going to stay and watch the TCU game. I'm going to go in at midnight. Well, I felt like crap on Monday. I said, I'm going to go home and go to bed. My wife said, yeah, just come home and go to bed. I went to bed at 1:30, and I slept until 1:30 the next morning. I got 11 hours of sleep. It was a beautiful thing, but I woke up at 6:30 to go pee, laid back down, went to sleep. I woke up at 9:40, and I was like, oh, TCU game. Let me check my phone. And I check my phone, and I see the group chat, and I see a group text from Craig that says, y'all can go to bed, boys. I said, oh, my God. I checked the score. It was 45-7 in the third quarter.
At least you guys can go to bed early.
I put my phone down and said, ouch. And I went to bed, and I woke up, and I said, that's got to be the final. 65. What? They tacked on another 20. What the what's going on? We scored one touch.
It was amazing this morning.
Ooh.
We're standing in the breaker when Jeff pops his head in the breaker when he goes, oh, hey, how'd that game go last night? I go, well, I know you don't follow sports, but let me put it to where you can understand it. TCU never showed up to SoFi Stadium. And he looked at me. I said, the buses are still outside, I think, because they didn't show up. I said it was 65-7. He goes, what? I go, yeah. I said, you guys paid $1,500 ticket to watch your team just get throttled.
Oh, you know what's even funnier? Fernando.
Oh, yeah.
Abel.
Have a good time.
Joseph Jones all flew out there.
How was that trip? How'd you like that?
Now, look, you know what's even worse? I saw today that since they had the windows open at SoFi, it rained on the TCU fans up in the upper deck. They said only TCU fans got rained on, and it just keeps pouring on them. And look, guys, and I hate that this happened. Look, I'm a TCU fan. I wanted us to win. I didn't think we were going to beat Michigan. We punched them in the mouth. We were all here last week when that happened. We went on to Georgia, and I said, we're not going to win this game, but let's keep it close. It's a better look for the college football. It's a better look for smaller schools that aren't SEC teams.
After watching the Michigan game, if I would have been the gambler, I would have taken TCU in the 13 points all day long. And I could have taken 30 and wouldn't have been enough. And I've never seen that. I've been watching college football a long time and international championship.
It would have been better for us if we kept it close for the smaller schools to compete next year and try and get in. Now there's going to be 12 teams next year, so this might not even be worth it. But I will not sit here. Hold on, Craig. I'm going to finish my point. I will not sit here and have people tell me that TCU did not belong, because they absolutely did belong. Go look at the resume. They finished the season undefeated. They lost in the bowl, the Big 12 championship, but they deserve to be here over Alabama that lost 2 games. We did not play nobodies this year. We beat 5 ranked football teams, and we deserve to be there. We beat Michigan and moved on. I don't want to hear anybody say we didn't deserve it, and that's the thing that I want to get out there, because I will fight you on that one. Some people will say Alabama should have been in. Alabama lost 2 games in the regular season. They would have been in if they didn't lose 2 games. TCU deserved it, and I believe we will be around more in the playoffs because of the we got 3 people from Alabama transferring over. Sonny Dykes, people are popping over to play for him, so I do believe we'll still be hanging around. But I'm proud of the TCU Frogs. I never would have thought this would have happened especially year 1, Sonny Dykes. But we deserved it to be there. I'm not going to let anybody take that away from me.
Yeah, it just it's a bad look for the 12-team format, because you're going to get a lot more of these type games in a playoff scenario. I think by expanding it to 12, you're just going to get
6
a lot.
Or 8.
Yeah, you're just going to get a lot more lopsided victories to where fans are checking out at halftime. But then again, ESPN came out and said it was the most watched game of the history of college football. So maybe people just like curb stompings. I don't really know. But the Horned Frogs did not
No one saw that one come. No one
No.
saw that come.
No,
And
Georgia's good. The SEC is good, but that felt personal. That felt like there was an axe. Like there was an axe to grind.
Did you hear the? Did you hear the? They played it on the radio today, I believe. Did you hear the Kirby Smart talking to the team before they left to go play? Like, he was just going off. You got to hear it. I don't know exactly. I can't remember what he said, but they were like, it sounded like he was ready to beat some people up in there, like, or something. It was crazy. I was like, oh man,
and
he
like
got him
I
to play.
said,
He went off, man.
something tells me there was some kind of personal axe to grind between those two coaches, or something to that effect, because you just don't see starters still playing. You just don't see teams that are still throwing the ball down the field, and
When you're up by 35,
when you're up by that much, he took the second half kickoff and drove it down just like he did the original one, and just made it a public statement. So it is what it is.
I said, did they have to beat us that bad? My gosh.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
So that to me made it feel personal, and so we'll go from there. We baseball season's coming. The football playoffs is here. It's a good time of year, and so
it is a great time of year.
We will be back Friday night. What do we got? One more week before Jeff joins us.
I think we got this week, and then he'll join us. He's getting back his old job, which means he's going to be available more time to do things for the podcast and with us. So he'll be on Fridays on a regular basis, and we'll have to see, because usually before, Craig, when football season ends, the content doesn't keep rolling in. You know, football is all you. I mean, just a lot of our stuff, but we'll see. Because sometimes we used to, before, we would go down to one podcast a week, because when the slow season comes, doing 2 a week is kind of difficult. But we'll see. We'll go from there and see what happens. But yeah, Jeff should be back, I think, next Friday. I'll ask him and let you guys know this week. We're gonna go over the playoffs this Friday. So stick around for that. I don't know if we want to do a predictive where we predict who's going to win it, or we just want to go week by week and call it. We'll figure that out off the show. But it's been a good week for me. But I don't know about you. Other than that, we will see you guys Friday. The Outspoken Network. Find us out on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. You can find us out on Twitch as well. And we are on all and every podcast platform as well. So we're trying to grow the show, guys. Continue to watch, continue to listen, and thank you, Kat and Ryan, for jumping on and getting to talk to us. If you want to do that when we're recording live, go on to YouTube and we can read your comments right on the air. Thank you guys for tuning in, listen to the show. God bless, and remember,
keep it outspoken.